This Bet the Farm segment is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook.
Make sure to use our promo code TTFS. Any $5 bet for new customers will get you $200 in bonus bets.
DraftKings,
the crown is yours.
UFC 308 has a lot of stuff that I'm very excited about and a lot of stuff that I'm going to intentionally avoid. So looking at the top of the card, there is the headliner is a perfect headliner just from a sports entertainment standpoint. So you have two of my favorite guys that I'm going to not emotionally attack. I'm going to look at this with my wallet and not with my heart. So in terms of the fight itself, I love Max Holloway. Well, first of all, you have two guys, in Ilia Topuria and Max Holloway, who just throw grenades.
Just incredible fan-friendly styles.
Just violent human beings. So both of which are known for their striking prowess. Now, if you look at the line, Ilia Topuria is minus 265 as of time of this recording, and Max Holloway is at plus 215. In terms of the matchup, in terms of any matchup, I should say this, I like Ilia Topuria on top of the world right now. He is, for me, in contention for number one pound for pound.
Yeah, he's so complete. So it's funny because you look at him and you see his boxing and his striking, but particularly his boxing.
Jesus.
You're like, oh my God. But then his first seven
Pause
fights.
there for a second.
Yeah.
So Mark and I will be betting this fight. Definitely. We will be betting
100%.
on Ilia Topuria.
On the money line.
On the money line, we like it. But additionally, when the props come out, they're not live on DraftKings right now, we will take Ilia Topuria in the distance. Now, it's important to note in the distance. I think in looking at it from a square standpoint, a lot of people will probably like Ilia Topuria specifically by TKO knockout, which I understand. And this is what Mark was just about to get into. This bout on paper presents itself as a stand-up war.
Yep.
Neither guy is going to wrestle, right? I mean, just for context, I remember I was at the Garden when Conor fought Max Holloway, and a young Max Holloway, regardless.
It's young Conor, too, though, for
Conor
being fair.
injured his knee, like tore his ACL, and then wrestle-humped Max to a decision win. So I don't predict Ilia to wrestle, whatever. I don't predict either man to wrestle. I do predict that Ilia will win by knockout. With that being said, something you did mention.
So Topuria's first 7 wins were by submission.
Various submissions.
And so it's a triangle, armbar, a guillotine.
You name it.
Yeah, so anaconda choke.
He also has
he has a sub victory over Bryce Mitchell.
Yes.
And Bryce is hitting twisters. You know what I mean? He's very, very, and I understand like the strikes set up the sub. And I know Max is incredibly hard to sub.
So I'm looking at this two ways. In order to improve my odds, I'm going to look at a prop inside the distance. In order to not paint myself in a corner, I'm not going to go KO TKO.
Yep.
God forbid Ilia Topuria does hit a submission.
So I'm going to bet it. I'm going to bet it on the money line for sure. I'm also going to bet. So it's not two independent bets. I'm going to bet it on the money line, and I'm going to but I'm not just betting on inside the distance.
Correct. You're doing both.
Yes.
Yes.
I really like that bet. Max Holloway is one of my favorite fighters of all time. I just don't. Stylistically, I think Ilia is just too much.
This is a smart bet, not an emotional bet. Next one, Jeff Neal, Rafael Dos Anjos. Money line, Jeff Neal minus 250, Dos Anjos plus 205. I am not betting Jeff Neal, who I do like. I think he's good. I don't think he's great. I am shorting a over the hill Rafael Dos Anjos.
Yeah, so Dos Anjos he's just past his prime. He's
awesome.
Yeah.
He's too old.
Yeah.
I don't know how Jeff Neal will win this fight, but I do believe that he will win this fight. I'll walk that back. I don't see a path to victory for Rafael Dos Anjos. I don't see him stopping him with strikes. I don't see in his current state him taking him to the ground and submitting him. Rafael Dos Anjos is a legitimate black belt in jiu-jitsu. We haven't seen that really stifling BJJ game from him in a long time. Jeff Neal is a physical specimen. So if you look at body of work, Rafael Dos Anjos, the better overall fighter, of course. But this current iteration,
it's the here and now.
I think Jeff Neal steamrolls them.
Yeah.
I don't think it's competitive.
All right, so our UFC 308 underdog hot chicken pick of the week is going to be Bobby Knuckles over Khamzat Chimaev. We got Bobby Knuckles at plus 164. We love that fight.
Yeah, the reason we love it is Khamzat spent half his UFC career dropping out of fights, and I just don't trust the man. I love him as a fighter. When he came off the scene, he was smashing everybody, and then he decided to miss weight, be a total prick, cause mayhem at fights or pre-fight pressers to the point that they scratched the Diaz fight. He ended up fighting Kevin Holland.
I just think people are sleeping on Whittaker. Like we said, he's 3 losses since 2014. It's Izzy, and Drickus. I mean, and he's fought a murderer's row. So for our underdog hot chicken pick of the week, we love Bobby Knuckles at plus 164 on the money line.
Yeah. The last fight I really like is Murphy Ige. So Murphy at time of filming is minus 198, and Ige plus 164 money line. So I think the reason Ige, I think people want to like him. Like he's a guy that people want to like. He is an underdog story.
Yeah.
He takes fights on short notice. He is a spoiler. He wins a lot of fights that he shouldn't, and I think that's great. This isn't one of those fights he's going to win.
I think he's an awesome gatekeeper.
Yeah.
I think if you
this is a gatekeeping fight.
That's exactly. This is Lerone Murphy showing like, am I?
Yep.
So if you beat Ige, you are legit, and if you're not legit, you're not getting past.
Correct.
Him.
So this is a fight that Murphy has to win. I think this is a fight that he very clearly does win. I think what gives people a false sense is how well Ige performed against Diego Lopes on short notice,
and he looked
awesome
to the point that we were almost short in Lopes. In that we shorted
Lopes because Fat Ortega, Great White Hope Ortega ruined that myth. But no, Ige gave Lopes a tough fight off the couch, literally off the couch, not figuratively. 3 hours off the couch.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna catch lightning in a bottle twice, and for that reason alone, I'm going Murphy. So what that brings us to is a segment that I love to avoid, and that is the sucker parlay. But the reason I'm so wildly excited about it is because when we crunch the numbers
on DraftKings
in the sucker parlay, if you were to put at the time of viewing Ilia Topuria, Jeff Neal, Bobby Knuckles, and Murphy in a combined parlay by happenstance
on the money lines,
you get the number of the beast, 666.
So it's a plus 666 on DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yeah, and as a heretic man myself, I might just bet it.
Yeah, let him who hath understanding know that Matt is going to bet this on the money line.
Because I have too much metal for one hand, and I'm gonna be rocking like Dawkins all the way to the bank. I will not be the last in line to bet the money line. So sucker bet is at plus 666 if you're down with parlays. Which Rob, this is only 4 legs as opposed to your centipede legged parlay. But that's our DraftKings Sportsbook sucker parlay.
Yes. Topuria, Neal, Whittaker, Murphy, plus 666.
I'll be adding that to a 20-leg parlay.
Yeah, UFC 308. There's a lot of interesting stuff on that. Oh, one. I mentioned things I want to avoid. Magomed Ankalaev, Alexander Rakic. I can never say his name, but the line is too egregious for me to touch. I love Magomed. I've always loved Magomed. I am the biggest striking daggy fan of all time.
So on DraftKings right now, Magomed is a minus 395, while Rakic is a plus 310. It's just it's a trap bet. I don't like it.
Too dangerous of a fighter. Those lines are too big for an opponent that dangerous. He's not getting enough respect. I do believe Magomed will win that fight. I would never touch it at that number. That's a personal take. So that's one number. One fight I did want to mention, a fight that I'm personally completely avoiding. I'm not touching that. I'm not touching props on that. I'm not touching anything on that, especially with a 3-rounder. I don't know if that's going to end in the distance. I don't know if it's going to go the distance. I don't know that Rakic isn't going to catch him. I don't love the line on that at all. I don't think it's going to move enough for me to touch it. I'm not touching it. If you like violence, sports betting, and delicious hot chicken, be sure to like and subscribe to the Toe to Toe Fight Show.